A catastrophic winter storm is racing toward the United States right now. And the question you need to ask yourself is this: are you in the path? Because in just 5 days, 120 hours from this moment, one of the most dangerous winter systems of the season will slam into the central and eastern U.S. And here's what nobody is telling you yet: this isn't your typical winter storm. The European model just dropped a bombshell forecast showing something we rarely see: a massive ice corridor stretching over 1,000 miles from central Texas all the way to Tennessee. We're talking about freezing rain, sleet bombs, and snow accumulations that could cripple entire regions. And the clock is ticking. But before we dive into which states are in the crosshairs, I need you to do something right now. Drop a comment below with your city and state. Why? Because I am going to give you a personalized forecast for your exact location. Central Texas, Tennessee, Arkansas, Louisiana. Drop that comment now and keep watching, because the information I'm about to share could literally save your life or prevent thousands of dollars in damage. Here is the first shocking detail. This storm begins Friday, not next Friday, this Friday, January 23rd, 2026. That gives you exactly 96 hours to prepare. The European forecast model, which has been incredibly accurate this season, shows the first snowflakes starting to fall across the plains by Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, the entire system kicks into overdrive. Now, you might be thinking, it's just snow, I've seen this before. But hold on. At the 30-second mark, I promised you something valuable, and here it is. This is not just a snow event. This is a triple-threat winter storm. Snow, freezing rain, and sleet all happening simultaneously across different regions. And the ice component, that's what makes this truly dangerous. Let me paint you a picture of what the models are showing. By Friday night, as you resettling in for the evening, northern Texas starts seeing the first round of freezing rain. Not snow, freezing rain. That liquid rain that freezes on contact with anything it touches. Roads, power lines, tree branches, your car, your driveway, everything becomes coated in a layer of ice. By midnight Friday into Saturday morning, January 24th, the situation escalates dramatically. Central Texas, northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, they are all under a developing ice storm. The models are showing freezing rain rates intense enough to accumulate a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of ice in just a few hours. And here's why that number should terrify you. A 1/4 inch of ice is enough to bring down power lines. 1/2 inch? That brings down trees and makes roads completely impassable. But wait, there's more happening simultaneously. While the ice storm rips through the south, heavy snow is pounding Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, Missouri, and Tennessee. We are not talking about a dusting. The overnight European run shows snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour in some locations. That kind of snowfall rate creates whiteout conditions, zero visibility, and it is happening in areas that don't always have the equipment to handle heavy snow. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, and this is the twist nobody saw coming. The storm doesn't just hit and leave. This is a long-duration event. We're talking about a winter storm that could last 24 to 36 hours in some locations. Saturday morning, the snow and ice are still falling. Saturday afternoon, still going. Saturday evening, the system finally starts to wrap up. But even by Sunday morning, some areas are still seeing freezing rain. Let me give you some specific cities and what they're refacing. If you are in Dallas, Texas, the models show you transitioning from freezing rain Friday night to possibly sleet by Saturday morning. That is a wintry mix that could deposit 2 to 4 inches of ice and sleet on your roads. Oklahoma City, you are looking at potentially 6 to 10 inches of heavy wet snow. Little Rock, Arkansas, you are right in the bullseye for a significant ice storm with possibly a transition to snow on the back end. Memphis, Tennessee, the models show you getting hit with everything. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, all within a 12-hour period. Nashville, you are on the northern edge where most of this should be snow, possibly 4 to 8 inches. But here is the concern. If that system shifts just 50 miles north, you could be looking at a major ice event instead. And if you live anywhere from central Texas through Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and even into Alabama and Georgia, you need to be watching this extremely closely, because here's what the models are consistently showing. This is a massive moisture bomb overrunning cold Arctic air at the surface. Let me explain what that means in plain English. Imagine you have a layer of freezing cold air sitting at ground level, right where we live. Now imagine warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico riding up and over that cold air like a ramp. That warm air is full of moisture. When that moisture falls through the cold air at the surface, it creates the perfect recipe for freezing rain and sleet. The temperature could be 25 degrees Fahrenheit at the surface where you are standing, but 2,000 feet above your head, it might be 40 degrees, even 50 degrees. So snow forms high up in the clouds, falls through that warm layer and melts into rain, then hits that shallow layer of freezing air near the ground and instantly freezes on contact. That's your ice storm. Now, you are probably wondering, how much ice are we talking about? The latest model runs are showing ice accumulations that range from 1/10 of an inch on the light end to potentially 3/4 of an inch in the hardest hit areas. Let me put that in perspective for you. 1/10 of an inch makes driving hazardous. 1/4 inch brings down tree branches and some power lines. 1/2 an inch causes widespread power outages and makes roads completely impassable. 3/4 of an inch, that's catastrophic. That is the kind of ice accumulation that can leave hundreds of thousands of people without power for days, even weeks. And here's another detail that just emerged from the latest model run. The GFS model, the American Forecast model, is showing this winter weather potentially pushing as far south as Houston, Texas. Houston, that's right on the Gulf Coast. If that verification happens, we're talking about freezing rain in an area that almost never sees it. The infrastructure isn't designed for it. People don't know how to drive in it. That is when accidents happen. But let's talk about the snow side of this storm, because that is equally impressive. The Oklahoma Panhandle could see 8 to 12 inches of snow. Parts of Kansas, 6 to 10 inches. Missouri, 4 to 8 inches, depending on your location. And this isn't a light, fluffy snow. This is heavy, wet snow, the kind that sticks to everything and weighs down power lines. Northern Arkansas, you were in a tricky spot. Some models show you getting all snow, 6 to 10 inches. Other models show you starting as freezing rain, then transitioning to sleet, then finally to snow. That combination could give you 4 inches of ice and sleet, then another 4 inches of snow on top. That's a nightmare scenario for travel and power infrastructure. So what's driving this storm? Why is it happening? Let me geek out with you for just a minute, because understanding the setup helps you understand why this is so dangerous. We have a couple of things coming together at the exact wrong time, or the exact right time if you are a winter weather enthusiast. First, we have Arctic air plunging down from Canada. This air mass originated near the Arctic Circle. It's brutally cold. We are talking temperatures in the single digits and teens across much of the central U.S. by Friday. That's your cold air source. Second, we have a strong low-pressure system developing. This low is going to tap into moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. That's your moisture source. Lots of it. The atmosphere is going to be saturated with moisture. Third, and this is the key ingredient, we have what meteorologists call a warm nose aloft. That's the layer of above freezing air several thousand feet up in the atmosphere that I mentioned earlier. That warm nose is being created by a ridge of high pressure pumping warm air in at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, while cold air remains locked in at the surface. This setup is textbook for a major ice storm. The Climate Prediction Center, that's the official government agency that issues long-range forecasts, their 6 to 10-day outlook is showing cold temperatures and above normal precipitation across the entire region. That lines up perfectly with what the models are showing. Cold and wet in late January equals winter storm potential. There is also something called the MJO, the Madden-Julian Oscillation. Without getting too technical, this is a pattern in the tropical atmosphere that influences weather patterns across the globe. And right now, it is moving into a phase that historically favors cold and stormy conditions across the United States. We retransitioning from Phase 7 into Phase 8. And both of those phases are known for producing winter weather outbreaks. So all the ingredients are lining up. Now, let us talk about what you need to do right now to prepare, because this storm is 5 days away and 5 days goes by fast. Number 1, check your emergency supplies today, not tomorrow. Today, you need water, non-perishable food, flashlights, batteries, a battery-powered radio, and any medications you need for at least 7 days. Why 7 days? Because if we get the ice storm that models are suggesting, power could be out for a week or more in some areas. Number 2, charge all your devices. Phones, tablets, laptops, portable battery packs. Charge everything to 100% by Thursday night. If you lose power Friday or Saturday, you want to have as much battery backup as possible. Number 3, fill up your gas tank. Do this by Thursday at the latest. If roads become impassable, gas stations might not be accessible. Plus, if power goes out, gas pumps don't work. Number 4, Bring in any outdoor items that could blow around or get damaged by ice. Patio furniture, decorations, anything loose. Ice accumulation plus wind can turn ordinary objects into projectiles. Number 5. If you heat your home with electricity, consider alternative heating sources if you have them. Fireplace, wood stove, propane heater. Make sure they in working order and you have fuel. Number 6. Stock up on groceries now. By Thursday, stores are going to be packed with people panic buying. Get ahead of the rush. Buy bread, milk, eggs, canned goods, whatever your family needs for a week. Let me tell you something that most weather forecasters want to tell you. The models are still fine-tuning the exact track of this storm, and the track matters enormously. A shift of 50 miles north or south changes everything. 50 miles north means more snow, less ice. 50 miles south means more ice, less snow. Right now, we are 5 days out, and models at 5 days out can still have significant changes. That's why you need to keep watching for updates. I am going to be posting twice daily updates on this storm, every morning and every evening until this system clears out. Each video will be broken into sections. Central U.S. and Eastern U.S. So if you in Tennessee, you can skip ahead to the Eastern U.S. timestamp. If you in Texas or Oklahoma, focus on the Central U.S. section. The next update will come tonight, and I'll have the latest afternoon model runs to show you. We'll look at the GFS, the European model, the Canadian model, all of them. We'll compare what they showing and see if there is any consistency or if things are trending in a particular direction. But here's what I can tell you right now with high confidence. A significant winter storm is coming. The questions that remain are, how far north does the precipitation shield extend? How much of this is snow versus ice versus sleet? And how long does the storm last? Some models show this wrapping up by Saturday evening. Other models keep light precipitation going into Sunday. The difference between 18 hours of freezing rain and 30 hours of freezing rain is massive in terms of ice accumulation. Let's talk about another aspect that's concerning. This storm is hitting during a weekend, Friday night into Saturday. That means if businesses close, if power goes out, if roads become impassable, you are dealing with it over a weekend when fewer resources are available. Road crews are still working, but response times might be slower. Power companies will have crews on standby, but restoring power during an active ice storm is dangerous and slow. For those of you in areas that rarely see winter weather, this is especially important. In places like northern Louisiana or Mississippi, a major ice storm could be absolutely crippling because the infrastructure isn't designed for it. There aren't as many snowplows. Salt supplies might be limited. People aren't experienced driving in these conditions. And that brings me to the most important point. If this storm hits as forecast, do not travel. I cannot stress this enough. Freezing rain creates black ice, which is invisible and incredibly slippery. You can see it, you can avoid it, and once you on it, you have almost no control over your vehicle. Even four-wheel drive doesn't help on ice. Four-wheel drive helps you go, but it doesn't help you stop. Every single winter we see accidents, injuries, and fatalities because people underestimate winter weather. They think, I'll drive slow, I'll be careful, I'll be fine. But it only takes one patch of ice, one moment of lost control, and suddenly you are in a ditch or worse, in a collision. Here's what the National Weather Service will likely do as we get closer to the event. They'll start issuing winter storm watches probably by Wednesday or Thursday. Those watches will then be upgraded to winter storm warnings and ice storm warnings for the areas expecting the worst conditions. Pay attention to those warnings. They are not issued lightly. An ice storm warning means severe ice accumulations are expected. That's a life-threatening situation. Power outages lasting days or weeks are possible. Travel becomes impossible. If you in an ice storm warning, you need to be prepared to shelter in place and ride it out. A winter storm warning means significant snow and ice are expected, amounts that will make travel dangerous or impossible. Again, these warnings mean dangerous conditions are imminent or already occurring. Now let's address the eastern United States because this storm doesn't stop at the Mississippi River. The Carolinas, Georgia, even parts of Virginia could see impacts from this system. The setup over the eastern U.S. is slightly different. We have something called cold air damming, that S when cold air gets trapped east of the Appalachian Mountains. The mountains act like a barrier and cold air pools up against the eastern slopes. That trapped cold air creates the perfect environment for freezing rain and sleet. The models are showing temperatures Saturday night dropping into the teens and low 20s across the Carolinas and Georgia. Columbia, South Carolina could see 26 degrees. Charlotte, North Carolina could drop to 19 degrees. Meanwhile, precipitation is falling. That is a recipe for a significant ice event. The challenge with forecasting ice in the Carolinas and Georgia is figuring out how deep that cold air layer is and how long it lasts. A shallow cold air layer means maybe you get sleet instead of freezing rain. A deeper cold air layer means pure freezing rain and significant ice accumulation. Right now, the models are showing freezing rain potential from northern Georgia through the Carolinas Saturday into Sunday. Amounts are uncertain, but even a tenth to a quarter inch of ice would cause major problems. Remember, these are areas that also have extensive winter weather infrastructure. Atlanta, you need to be watching this closely. The models have you on the edge of this system. You could escape with just cold rain, or you could get caught in the ice zone. It's too early to say definitively, but the potential is there. Charleston, Raleigh, Charlotte, Richmond, you're all in areas where the models show at least some freezing rain potential. The timing looks like Saturday night into Sunday morning. That S when the moisture arrives and temperatures are cold enough for freezing precipitation. Now, I know some of you are thinking, this sounds like worst-case scenario fear-mongering. But I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to scare you. I am trying to prepare you. There's a big difference. Fear causes panic. Preparation saves lives. The models are showing a significant winter storm. Multiple models, multiple runs. The pattern is favorable. The timing is locked in. This is happening. The question isn't if, the question is exactly where the worst impacts occur and how severe they are. And that's why I need you to drop that comment with your location. Because over the next 4 days, as models fine-tune the forecast, I can give you specific information for your city. Instead of general statements about Texas or Tennessee, I can tell you, Dallas, you're looking at this. Memphis, you're expecting that. Atlanta, here's your situation. The comment section is going to be incredibly active over the next few days. I am going to do my best to respond to as many as possible, but I also need to be honest with you. The volume is going to be massive, so I'll focus on providing location-specific forecasts in the videos themselves. That way, everyone in a particular city can get the same information at the same time. Here, S coming at the 5-minute mark, and this is the promise I made at the beginning. I am going to tell you exactly which cities are in the highest danger zone based on the current model consensus. Highest danger for significant ice accumulation: Waco, Texas; Tyler, Texas; Shreveport, Louisiana; Monroe, Louisiana; Little Rock, Arkansas; Texarkana, and areas along the Interstate 30 corridor from Dallas to Little Rock. These locations are showing up on nearly every model run as being in the prime ice zone. Highest danger for heavy snow accumulation: Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Wichita, Kansas; Tulsa, Oklahoma; Springfield, Missouri; and Joplin, Missouri. These locations could see 8 to 12 inches of snow with locally higher amounts possible. Highest danger for a wintry mix of everything: Memphis, Tennessee; Jackson, Mississippi; Birmingham, Alabama; Huntsville, Alabama. These areas are right on the line where snow, sleet, and freezing rain could all occur, making the forecast extremely difficult but the impacts potentially severe. Moderate to high concern for winter weather: Nashville, Tennessee; Knoxville, Tennessee; Chattanooga, Tennessee; Atlanta, Georgia; Columbia, South Carolina; Charlotte, North Carolina; Greenville, South Carolina. These locations are on the northern or eastern fringe of the system where impacts depend heavily on the exact track. Now let's talk timing more specifically, because knowing when this hits is crucial for your planning. Friday morning. First snow begins across the plains. Kansas, Oklahoma, northern Texas starts seeing light snow. Friday afternoon. Snow becomes moderate to heavy across Oklahoma and Kansas. First freezing rain begins in northern Texas. Friday evening. Snow expands into Missouri, Arkansas. Freezing rain becomes widespread across central and northern Texas, southern Oklahoma, Friday night into Saturday morning. Ice storm intensifies across Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. Heavy snow continues Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas. First precipitation reaches Tennessee, Mississippi, Saturday morning. This is peak intensity for most locations. Ice accumulation reaching critical levels in the south. Snow piling up in the central plains. Wintry mix spreading into Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama. Saturday afternoon, system continues. Some areas may see precipitation transition from freezing rain to sleet or even snow as deeper cold air works in. Saturday evening, precipitation finally starts to diminish across Texas and Oklahoma, but still ongoing in Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi. Saturday night into Sunday, final bands of precipitation, mostly snow and sleet, push through the Mid-South and into the Carolinas and Georgia. Sunday morning, system finally exits. Cleanup begins. Power restoration efforts ramp up. So your window of worst weather is roughly 6 p.m. Friday through 6 p.m. Saturday. 24 hours of active winter weather, maybe longer in some locations. That S, why preparation needs to happen now, not Thursday night when everyone else is panicking. Let's talk about the economic impact for just a moment because this matters. A major ice storm can cause billions of dollars in damage. Trees down on houses, cars destroyed by falling ice, business disruptions, crop damage, power infrastructure repairs. The February 2021 winter storm that hit Texas caused an estimated $200 billion in damage. Now, I'm not saying the storm will be that severe, but it illustrates how costly these events can be. For farmers and ranchers, this is a critical concern. Livestock need to be protected. Cattle in exposed areas need windbreaks and access to water that won't defreeze. Chickens need heat lamps if power goes out. Pipes need to be insulated or drained. For business owners, you need to think about protecting your property. If you have a retail location with large glass windows, consider boarding them up if ice accumulation looks significant. Falling ice from rooftops can shatter windows. Make sure you have adequate insurance coverage. For homeowners, walk around your property and look for dead tree branches or trees that lean toward your house or power lines. If you have time this week, consider having those removed or trimmed. Ice will find the weakest branches and bring them down. You want them falling away from structures and power lines, not onto them. I also want to address something about winter storm forecasting. It is one of the most difficult types of forecast to get right because small changes in temperature, just 2 or 3 degrees, can mean the difference between snow, sleet, and freezing rain. A front that moves through 3 hours earlier than expected completely changes the forecast. That's why you are going to see forecast changes over the next few days. Not because meteorologists Don T know what they redoing, but because winter weather is incredibly sensitive to small variations. So if you see the forecast change from heavy snow to ice or ice to snow, that S not a bust. That S models fine-tuning as we get closer and have better data. The goal over the next 4 days is to narrow down the uncertainty. 5 days out, we know a storm is coming. 4 days out, we'll know the general areas of concern. 3 days out, we'll have a better handle on snow versus ice. 2 days out, we'll have accumulation forecasts. 1 day out, we'll know timing down to the hour. So stay patient, keep checking back, and most importantly, start preparing now. Because whether you get 10 inches of snow or half an inch of ice, either way, you re-dealing with a significant winter storm that will impact your life for several days. Here is something else to consider. Power outages during winter are more dangerous than power outages during summer. In summer, you are hot and uncomfortable. In winter, you are cold, and prolonged cold exposure can lead to hypothermia, especially for the elderly and very young. If you have elderly neighbors or relatives, check on them. Make sure they have a plan. Make sure they have supplies. If they need to evacuate to a warming shelter, help them get there before the storm hits. For parents with young children, make sure you have entertainment options that don't require power. Board games, books, coloring supplies. Kids get stir-crazy quickly, and keeping them occupied during a multi-day winter storm makes everything easier. The bottom line is this. We have a high-confidence forecast for a significant winter storm impacting a large portion of the United States starting Friday, January 23, 2026. The storm will bring snow, ice, and sleet to millions of people. Some areas will see crippling ice accumulation. Other areas will see heavy snow. Some unlucky areas will get both. Your job right now is to take this information seriously, make a plan, gather supplies, and prepare to stay home for a few days. This is not a time to be a hero. This is not a time to test your driving skills. This is a time to be safe, be smart, and ride it out. I'll be back tonight with updated model runs and more specific forecasts. Make sure you comment below with your location so I can prioritize those areas in future updates. And if you found this information valuable, hit that like button and subscribe because we're going to be doing this twice a day until this storm is over. Remember, the best case scenario is that this storm shifts tracks, weakens, or otherwise doesn't verify as bad as the models show. But we don't prepare for the best case. We prepare for what the models are showing. And right now they're showing a significant, dangerous winter storm. One more thing before we wrap up. Let's talk about what happens after the storm. Because the storm itself is only part of the challenge. The aftermath can be equally difficult. If we get widespread ice accumulation, as the models suggest, power restoration could take days or even weeks in the hardest hit areas. Power companies will be working around the clock, but they can only work safely. They can to replace poles and repair lines during active freezing rain. They have to wait for conditions to improve. During that time, you need to know how to stay safe. If you're reusing alternative heating sources like generators, make sure they outside, away from windows and doors. Carbon monoxide poisoning kills people every winter because generators are used improperly. Never run a generator inside your house, garage, or near windows. If you're reusing a fireplace or wood stove, make sure you have adequate ventilation and working carbon monoxide detectors. Keep a fire extinguisher nearby just in case. For those who might lose power for extended periods, know where your warming shelters are. Most communities open emergency shelters during major winter storms. These are typically schools, community centers, or churches with backup power. Don't wait until you dangerously cold to seek help. If your house drops below 50 degrees and you don't have a safe way to heat it, go to a shelter. Road conditions after an ice storm are treacherous for days. Even after precipitation stops, ice remains on roads, especially in shaded areas and on bridges. Just because the storm is over doesn't mean it's safe to drive. Wait for road crews to treat the roads and for temperatures to rise above freezing. Here's the reality: this storm is going to disrupt life for millions of people for at least several days. Schools will close, businesses will close, events will be canceled, power will go out, roads will be impassable. That is the reality of a major winter storm. But if you prepare now, if you take it seriously, if you make smart decisions, you and your family will get through this safely. Stock up on supplies today and tomorrow. Charge devices Thursday. Stay home Friday and Saturday. Check on neighbors and relatives, and wait for the all clear before you venture out. This is what I love about weather forecasting. Yes, storms are dangerous. Yes, they were disruptive. But with advance warning, we can save lives. 20 years ago, this storm would show up on the forecast maybe 2 or 3 days out. Now we're seeing it 5 days in advance. That gives you time to prepare, time to plan, time to make smart decisions. So use that time wisely. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait until Thursday night to get supplies. Don't wait until Friday morning to charge devices. Do it now, today, right after you finish watching this video. And again, drop that comment with your location. I need to know where my viewers are so I can tailor the forecast to the areas that matter most to you. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Carolinas. Wherever you are, let me know. We are in this together. Over the next 5 days, I'll be your source for detailed, twice-daily updates on this storm. No hype, no clickbait, just the facts from the models explained in plain English so you can make informed decisions. Stay safe out there. Take this seriously. Prepare now, and I'll see you tonight with the latest updates. This is a storm we'll be talking about for years. Make sure you ready for it. Now go check your supplies, charge your devices, and drop that comment. The storm